Bigfoot Collectors Club presents
Terrifying tales from zombie Bigfoot's Cryptid Crypt. I know a ghost story about you.
Instead, when we come back from zombie Bigfoot's Cryptid Crypt, we should just have like a nice little bass line.
Oh, yeah.
And just do like, yeah, we'll just go full Seinfeld for the intro of the show.
All right. Challenge accepted.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Bigfoot Collectors Club, the show where we talk to amazing guests about their personal paranormal history and share stories of high strangeness. I'm your host, Michael McMillan. With me always is your other host,
Bryce Johnson.
and our ultra-terrestrial producer,
Riley Bray.
And like I mentioned, it is Terrifying Tales from Zombie Bigfoot's Cryptid Crypt month. Here on the show, we're celebrating extra spooky stories of high strangeness for the Halloween season. And joining us today is someone who is no stranger to the spooky or the paranormal. She lives halfway in that realm. Club Scouts of all timelines, please welcome back to the show, medium and intuitive Adela Lavine. Adela.
So happy to see you guys.
You too.
So happy to see you.
This time of year.
It's been a
Welcome
year.
back.
It's been a year. We want to catch up on everything that you've been up to and what's going on the other side, so to speak. But before we do that, Adela, I want to talk to the Club Scouts at home. We're going to do things a little bit differently this year. Usually we do L Files at the end of the month, but we have 5 Wednesdays this October. So I want to finish Zombie Bigfoot's Cryptid Crypt with a really fun spooky story the day before Halloween. So we brought Adela in to catch up on her stuff, and we're going to read a couple of your L Files while we're at it.
Riley and I
Bryce.
both did eye checks on that 5 Wednesday thing. We're like, wait a minute, is that true?
There's 5 Wednesdays.
I know. Listen, I
October.
believe you. I'm not even going to look it up. I just
The
don't.
Wednesdays just keep coming
They
forever.
keep coming. And I also want to
More
remind
episodes.
that gives you one extra Wednesday to order your Zombie Bigfoot t-shirt by Tyler Bent in our TeePublic shop. When November 1st rolls around, it's going to vanish with the morning sun, just like Dracula. So head over to teepublic.com, search Bigfoot Collectors Club, or click the link in our show notes of this episode. Okay, Riley, why don't you nominate our 5-star Club Scout of the Week? This is a friend who gave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, which helps get the show to more people.
Nice.
Well, this is from Este Alicia, from a fan. Highly recommend this podcast to anyone who enjoys anything paranormal and also loves to laugh. I frequently listen to this podcast while cleaning houses for a living. Sometimes it spooks me a bit when I have to turn off the lights in the basement or occasionally see something unusual out of the corner of my eye, but generally it keeps me company and makes my days go by in a far more enjoyable manner. Sometimes I bust out laughing with my headphones on and my clients think I'm nuts. Maybe I am nuts because I also believe that Bigfoot is totally an interdimensional being and ghosts and aliens are probably too. Thanks, you guys, for diving into the mystery and keeping the dream alive. Keep doing what you do. I love that review.
Alicia,
Woo,
you
those are my
in
favorite. Yes.
good company. Yeah.
I like the
absolutely.
ones when they're like, it makes work go by fast because work sucks for a lot of people. And if you can like get into that time loop zone where it just kind of like time goes by faster, that means that you're in the zone, and that's good. So we love to help you guys get in the zone. So anyway,
I do
thanks for
love
that review.
picturing people like listening to this while they're just like doing their jobs and doing their thing, and we're just
Great.
like,
We get to hang.
existing
Yeah.
out in the
And
world.
by the way, thanks for making the world go around, everybody, while we
Yep,
just sit here
seriously.
and talk into your ears.
Yeah.
We appreciate your hard work. Thank
also
you.
that, yes.
Yes.
All right, Adela, speaking of jobs, you have a very interesting one. You are a medium. You're an intuitive. I know that our listeners, you go way back. We say it every time you come on the show.
OG.
Adela's in the
OG.
DNA of the show. Our very first personal story of personal paranormal history from Pete Gardner was about Adela. So this is why we got to check in with her on at least an annual basis. Adela, what is going on in your realm? Is it true that it's spookier this time of year?
It is not true. It is not true. People are not gonna, you know
Always
me. I'm
spooky.
gonna, take a little different take on it. I don't see spirits anymore than any this time of year than I do any other time of year. What is true is the veil to me is this is what's come very clear from that realm that I've been hearing a lot to explain. And I showed you guys this fan earlier. They do like this is an example for those watching, but if you have like the fan is the veil and we've all built it. So
Mm,
Okay.
we've built the veil because out of fear,
love it.
right?
Mm.
So we have all this fear and we've created this like black, wall, so to speak, that we refuse to see that world, but they see us all the time. They want to connect with us all the time. When people die, they're like, you know what? I guess I was part of that too. I guess I was also afraid and I wouldn't see people's doubt, people's, being skeptical and religion and all of these things rolled up into one has created a block. But when Halloween comes around, everyone wants to be all in it and they want to talk to spirits. And there's the Day of the Dead and there's Samhain and there's all these things
Mhm.
that people get very excited about. And then the dead are like, well, it's fine. Like, this is our chance they're finally like kind of lifting the veil for us and acknowledging we exist. So they get very excited. So they do kind of turn the volume up a little bit more because you're finally paying attention. And then I get happy because everyone's in my world with me. And then November 3rd hits or 2nd hits, and everyone's like, peace out. We're doing Thanksgiving now.
Yeah, it's
Whatever.
all about
Or,
turkeys now.
yeah.
Sorry,
And
other side. You
yeah.
gotta wait another year. But
At
but
least in the States, but you know what I mean? People
what
just kind of go on.
what is time like for them though on the other side? Because if they exist outside linear time, then isn't it always Halloween over there? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Mhm.
there is no time. They're talking about that they're excited that everyone is listening and hearing them. Nothing's changed for them.
Okay.
They're
Yeah.
paying attention. It's just like when you go to cemeteries, they're not existing in cemeteries more. It's just people open up in a cemetery and they're willing to listen and talk in a cemetery. So they're like, I guess this is the spot where people will actually, so you can hear from your loved one, but you also will hear from all the others that are trying to get in. So,
It's really
like
about our state of mind that we're in
we
order to
block it.
receive them.
We
Yeah.
create the veil and we can lift the veil. But people are so freaked out if any little thing happens, if the light flickers, if
Mm.
the door opens, if you hear someone's, whispering. So we flip out and then we just close ourselves. We close it. It's not even closing yourself, but it's a collective. As in this realm, we have collectively decided to not see that realm.
One of my favorite, I'm looking at it right now. It's right here above my desk, but it's from Manly Hall's great work, The Secret Teachings of All Ages. And oh my God, I wish I could remember the artist's name. Nap. But it's a picture of Isis. And she's my favorite goddess. And it
Hmm.
says, I, Isis, am all that has been, that is or shall be. No mortal man hath ever me unveiled. And she's behind a curtain. The fruit which I have brought forth is the sun. And you can sort of
Yes.
see her, and she's behind the veil. And I
Hmm.
just love that because sometimes I feel like I've peered behind the veil. And so that's why Isis is so important to me in representing that veil. So I think that's similar of a little bit what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I'll send you guys
Egyptian,
a
of
picture. It's a
course.
beautiful picture. Yeah.
The Egyptian, like that's my thing. I do the Eye of Horus. I'm into the Horus. I'm very connect. I just feel something from the Egyptian, deities.
Me
Not that I
too.
believe that they're like literally walking around that way, but they're an energy. But I do feel that culture was very tuned into how it probably is more like. But there's a lot of cultures that like are similar. So it's just the energy I tend to be drawn to.
Yeah.
But yeah, the veil isn't any different. I mean, I do seances at this time a year. I'm doing like, is Bryce like going on
Oh,
a
You know,
quest?
yeah,
Oh,
he's
I
just
don't mind
started
me.
a spirit quest. of his own.
I want to show you the beautiful pictures.
He has like the flashlight.
Don't worry about it.
Well, Bryce, just send it. We'll put it up on the YouTube later. It's okay.
Hey, well, I like to be in the moment there.
He wants to be in the. He's in it. He's in it. He's lifting the veil.
I got my phone turned off right now because there is a playoffs game happening that I don't want ruined.
Oh boy, here we go. Okay.
Adela, what's been going on adventure-wise for you? Has anything how's your personal paranormal history been lately? Do you have any updates? Anything fun or extra wild that you've encountered?
I mean, obviously, like my paranormal history is like on a constant every day, but I have had some. I'm doing 2 seances. I did 1 seance last week, doing another one tomorrow night actually, and then I'm going to be doing one in Utah. I haven't done that in a long time. Yes, Utah.
Ooh.
And those are the things I kind of do in a more organized fashion. But here's a couple of things like. The weirdest thing happens every October. This is going to sound very strange. We have had suddenly one of our tires just goes flat in the garage, not like driving around, but all of a sudden it's become like every year for the past 4 years. It just seems kind of like random. Because it does feel very random and annoying to the point where it was like, here we go, another year where we have to get tires.
October
well, one
flat.
year, every October. And one year, the tire just like I came to the garage and the tire was just like no air. Like someone let the air out of the tire. So my husband.
The tire's like, I just can't do it today. I'm sorry.
It's like, it's October. You work me, whatever. All your weird stuff you do, Adela, we're giving out. That's kind of what it was so bizarre. So he took the tire my husband took the tire to the tire place. And the guys, they put it in the bucket to see if it bubbles, like there's an air, hole.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, there's nothing wrong with this tire. Like absolutely nothing. There's no reason this tire should be flat. And these are like just kind of the mechanic guys.
These are the Pep Boys we're talking about.
The actual, none other.
Yeah, they're just
they're tire people. I love a good tire station.
They're tire people. So
they're probably stupefied going, what the fuck? Why, what's going on with this tire lady?
Their logic. So he took it and they were like, you must have an enemy. And they like, let the air
Here's
out
a
of your
ghost tire.
They said, you must have some enemy. And he goes, it was in the garage. It wasn't outside. And they said, well, that must be some kind of ghost or something.
No
and they
way.
Well, here's your problem. There was a Slimer in here.
Yeah.
You had a Slimer in
classic
here.
Slimer.
That's the issue.
And he's like, well, actually, my wife is, and tells them, and they flip out. They freak out because this is around Halloween because it's October. And they're like, oh my God, are you serious? They're like, whoa, man. Oh, and they're all freaking out. Yeah. And I have to get a new tire. So that was 1 year.
This one's got ghosts in it. You can't drive on that.
I know. That's worth a discount or something.
It was like, and then this happened again. And this time it was 2 tires. And grant you, my logical side is like, I kind of know there was one of them was a little wonky, but we were surprised it was 2. It's almost like we got notified because we had a car now that tells us ahead of time. Before we didn't have a car that had the air pressure like is low. So we're like, we beat the system.
You have a psychic car now that can.
Now we have a psychic car.
Tires.
Yeah.
Deflating.
And I was like, we beat the system. We're ahead of you. We got 2 new tires before it could go flat. But then the next day, all of a sudden the lights went out in the garage. They just stopped working. Okay, so here's the part where it gets more weirder. So
interesting. That is interesting because I was going to think more stuff with the car, but now it seems like it's location.
It's the garage. I go, it's the garage. So we got the tires done. And we beat the system. So now you just want to turn off my lights. And I'm like, of course I use logic. So I'm like, the lights could have just went out. But I started getting a feeling. I was like, there's something. I cleanse my house all the time. I put ward in my house all the time. But I never do the garage. I never deal with the garage ever. So I went out to the garage when nobody was home.
Big mistake.
In the dark. in the dark to the garage, and I start looking, and I see this woman. I see this woman's spirit, and she's like, "Yeah, I did not like it here. Bad things happened to me. I feel like you should have known. You're a medium. You could hear me. I've been trying to get your attention." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm either seeing this or I'm not, but I'm going to cleanse the garage and I'm going to talk to her." And I said, "Okay, I work with St. Michael. Please," like I said, "I'm sorry. You're right. My bad. I should have known. I see things and I've never paid attention to the garage. I just completely ignored it. And I'm sorry this happened to you here. I apologize that I didn't pay attention to you. You were trying to get my attention with the stupid tires, but you got to lay off the tires and the lights." And I cleanse it and I see her go with St. Michael to help her like feel like she was heard. The next day, I go to my son. There's a little lantern we were using for light. I go turn the lantern on because I'm taking him to school, and he comes back and he goes, "The light's on." It's turned back on.
Whoa.
The bulbs start working again. First, it was like clicking after I did that. I came home and it started right?
Flickering
and I was
in and
like
out.
Flickering, yeah. And I was
All
like,
we want is just to be seen, you know? I mean,
And now
that's
it's been
the
on
same
since
that's
then.
same here on Earth too, you know? It's like,
Yeah.
hey, I just want to express something. Do
Yeah.
you think, man, that is so relative.
And it was off for like 2 days. It wasn't like it was off for a little bit and then la. It was like
Right.
off. And we put in a work order because we live at a place where they have to like fulfill those work orders in
Yeah.
a townhome. And they didn't come out. And then finally I did all that. And then it felt better in there for 1 and for 2. And I was like, well, let's see if it stays on. And it's been on.
Do you think this is like just because it's the garage, and maybe this is too much of a literal interpretation, but we hear things about hitchhikers, you know, when you go out to haunted places, that sometimes things follow you back home. Do you think that maybe this is something that literally hitchhiked with you on the way home and then couldn't go any further than your garage to get your attention?
No, because it's not such a thing. In that realm, there's no time and space. So they're not hitchhiking. You're opening up to things. And so when you're opening up and you're seeing stuff, then you're finally kind of seeing that spirit is getting your attention.
So you're telling me that everything I learned from the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland is a lie?
I mean, I love the Haunted Mansion. I would live in the Haunted Mansion. I
have
would never
question.
down the Haunted Mansion, but no.
I have a question. Know,
Yes.
because I was just thinking like of your story, and part of me was like, hey lady, like I'm off duty. Like, you know, don't bother me like right now. But then it was like, you know, I was thinking about how many probably dead people there are in this space of the afterlife. And I'm wondering like, is it filled, or is it just vast space? In other words, like, is it a crowded space, or is it like, you know, is there enough space to breathe? Like, do you ever feel like you're being overcrowded in this afterlife space? Or do you have your own private space where
Yeah,
you can
no.
sort of get away?
Yeah, the afterlife space is not crowded at all. It's like a city. It's like an advanced city. You have your own space. You can create just like artists create from the mind, and you have to physically put it onto something like a canvas or create music,
that.
or
Yeah.
it's just by thought you create whatever you want. So you create your own space that you want, and you can change it just like we're learning with filters and VR and avatars. It's the same. That's why they see it as an advanced way of living. And we're kind of more in the non-advanced, but technology is helping us understand that world. So they have plenty. It's just that they die and they go, oh, there's a whole nother section to this thing. And nobody in that section will listen to us. And they are missing us, and they want to know what's going on. And we're trying to tell them, but every time we do any little thing, they freak out.
Customizable afterlife. I love it. We're going to take a quick break, Adela. When we come back, we're going to talk more about some recent stuff that's been going on.
Okay.
And we're back with Adela Lavine. Adela, What is there now on your show, the House Medium podcast that you do? You're fielding questions from listeners who are freaked out about things going on in their own world. Has there been something recently that you've come up against that you're like, okay, this is new for me?
And listeners, she doesn't need to see you in person. I mean, or even hear you over the phone, right, Adela? You can just like,
Right.
yeah, it's incredible.
Yes, thank you, Bryce. Has there been anything? I think that the ones that have been really interesting lately is the near death experience ones that I had somebody on talk about that. It was very comfort, like because it's very different than what I do. They like had an experience that is exactly what I hear from that realm.
Which is
I
what?
Which is like this girl, she talked about that she got into a horrible car accident and she saw what people see as the black hat type of figure grab her child, and her child was saved. That it was a very bad accident where she, turned several times, and her child was saved, and she said she felt like she saw, she didn't know what it was, a man that was
Like
dressed
a
like in
guardian
black.
angel kind of swoop in and
Yeah,
help save the day.
well, they're I've seen them, so I was able to explain to her what they are, but they're the shadow men that people call black hats, or it's because they're veiling themselves, like what Bryce was saying with that picture with ISIS. It's like a veil that they keep so you don't quite get a view of them. But and then when she went into the hospital, she was floating around the hospital, and she could see herself, going around, and she could hear people's conversations and go into other rooms. And so all of the things that she was describing, and that she saw this man who was talking to her about the choices that she can make, it was very similar to what I've been told over and over from that realm. And even to the point where she was like, I was watching these two people flirt. They worked in the hospital and they
Whoa.
couldn't see me, they couldn't hear me. So I was like, that's very interesting to me. That's very different
That's the
because
kind of thing, that type of specific, it's the type of
specifics.
thing that helps
Right.
sell a story like that for me, because it's not something that you would necessarily, it's not a detail that you would necessarily make up or throw in
And
or
why
dream
would she
of, what
why
I mean?
would
If
she
this
care
was all
about two like hospital workers? But what
No.
sold it for her is that she went in to look at her friend who was in the car and saw him laying on his stomach, and was like, why is he laying on his stomach like that? Why isn't he not laying on the bed? And then when she came back to herself, she said it was like she was getting sucked in. And whenever I take people on a journey, I always say, like, make it, you pull out of your body like Velcro, and then you kind of come back in like Velcro,
Dang.
which was very interesting. But when she told the guy, he's like, it's impossible. You couldn't have known. And then she said, well, why were you laying on your stomach? And he just started crying. He's like, because something happened on my back and I could not lay down. There's no way you could have known I was laying on my stomach the whole time. And she said when she saw herself, she was like, oh, there's like this, she looks really beat up. This poor woman, she didn't know it was herself at first. And that's what everyone like in that other realm talks about. And she said it was just kind of like she dropped this soggy like clothing. Her body just felt like she just kind of dropped it.
Ooh, interesting.
And that's what I've heard over and over and over. So all those things was like click, click, click. Like she was helping confirm things I've been hearing for years.
Wow.
I gotta jump in here. One of my favorite books is by the author Leslie Kean. She's that investigative journalist who broke that New York Times UFO story back in 2017. But she was super interested in this afterlife question and mediumship, and she wrote a book called Surviving Death. A journalist investigates evidence for an
Okay, I've heard of
afterlife.
that. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, anyway, she tells a great story about a near-death experience patient who, just like you were saying, Adela, gets sucked out of her body. She can see them operating on her, and she starts rising through the roof, so much
Yeah.
so that she leaves the building. She sees a shoe on the ledge. And she's like, what the fuck is that shoe doing there? She's back into her body. And then she's like, whoa. She's like, somebody has to go outside 2 floors up. There's a fucking shoe on the ledge. and they're like, what's going on? Are you in the, just please, somebody go check. They find the fucking shoe. It's just like she said.
Yeah.
And, and she was like, boom, I told you. I was out of my body. I was floating up through the ceiling, out of the building. And then I was pulled back in. And I just remember seeing that shoe. It was so weird. That's in her book, though. And it's stories like that just confirm for me that there's obviously something more than this meat suit that we're inhabiting.
Right, exactly. So that's why it was really cool, because I saw her on TikTok, or she commented on one of my TikToks, and she was raised Seventh-day Adventist just like me. So that grabbed my attention. And she said this is what changed her. She was like, because in the Seventh-day Adventist religion, they believe when you die, you die. There's no afterlife. There's no like heaven you go to.
Oh, wow.
Because Jesus comes down and raises the bodies from the dead and picks like, you're good. You'll come with me and the rest of you burn on earth. So she knew.
Thanks, Jesus.
That's how it is. That's what I was raised with.
Party, and you can come to my party, and
It's
you
like-
burn forever.
You're cool.
Zombies raise up. And so I think that's what was so significant, is that she 100% didn't believe in any kind of afterlife, because she was deep in the Seventh-day Adventist religion. And she said, this changed everything for me. And I never looked back.
Those
So it
are
was
always
pretty
my
deep
favorite
one.
stories. Not sorry
Yeah.
to cut you off, but it comes from
Yeah.
skeptics first, who turn into not believers but knowers. Those are
Right.
my favorite type of experiencers, and there's a few of them out there. Trust me, total skeptics who are confronted with the paranormal and then just be like, there's some shit there.
Absolutely.
Adela, what's stopping us from having more interactions than we do with the other side? I mean, I can't feel like it's just fear, like why can't we tap into this if it's so clearly there?
Well, I think that fear and control and religion and people being forced to believe that this is it. There is also the aspect of, if you knew too much, maybe you wouldn't want to work out this world. So, in other words, I always hear from that side of like, listen, I'm not trying to glorify everything, but I kind of get why maybe everyone doesn't know so much, because it would be harder for people to justify this world and being in it if they remembered too much of that world. So that's one of the things. There are rules to that. So there's rules on both ends, right? So there are these guardians that kind of go, you can't just fuck everything up on the other realm, and they can't fuck everything up on this realm. And we both kind of try to bend the rules.
There's
Meaning,
bouncers. Death is a nightclub, and there are bouncers that are not going to let you in, and they're going to they're not going to let the
I told you, they're
rowdy
checking
people
IDs
in
and
our
passwords,
club.
man. Yeah. You
well,
better
like
watch out.
you can't go too far, you can't mess around. So that's true, but I hate to say it, but I know people don't want to accept this, because people think it's all up to the other realm to do all the work. Like, if you're real, then you better prove it to us. And it's like, it doesn't work like that. It is
What
a
if we,
lot
like-
to do with us too.
What if we pull rank and the F, like, do you know who my medium is back on Earth? Do you know who you're fucking with right now? Dude, you gonna let me in? Yeah, I'll
You want to
bring
wrap
her
up
in,
that
bro.
unfinished business?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I
Get
do
that done.
seances, Bryce. That's why I do seances. That's what my seances
You don't know who you're
are
messing
about.
with, buddy.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about the seances. Like, are you sitting around a table? Is this like old school Victorian style? Is there like ectoplasm coming out of your mouth at some point?
No,
like
'cause
how
that's
we've
all
talked
fake,
about.
But
how does the seance work in for Adela's Adela's world?
This particular one, I do have a table. It is in a room called the seance room. It's done really kind of a haunted mansion style. It's very cool looking. The one that I'm going to do in Utah, people will be sitting in a circle. So how it works is, when I'm doing like an actual reading for people, you're going to tell me who you want to speak to. So you say, I want to speak to my grandmother on my mother's side, or a best friend, and I'm going to talk to that person, and I keep at bay the rest. People don't realize when I'm reading, I'm not letting you feel everything, because when that realm gets very excited that, oh, finally someone's talking to us. They start pushing, like they want to talk. They all want to talk. They all want to be heard because no one's ever really hardly talking to them. So when I'm doing one-on-one readings, I'm like, I'm calling on that person, everyone else, the door's closed to you. But in a seance, I'm saying I'm going to open up the gates and I'm going to let them all come around so people
Wow.
can feel it. So sometimes people feel like dizzy and they feel a little bit like something's poking them. They feel sensations. They kind of, their sight opens up a little bit better because I'm not holding it back. I am being the medium that's saying, hey, you
Wow.
guys know me really well. So Bryce would like to like participate and get to know you. So I'm introducing you to him and I'm opening the gates. So I do it in layers. Open up the gates. Now I'm going to open up the gates one more time. And there is a point where people start to feel kind of like heavy. And then that's when I know I have to close it because that means I'm not able to hold all of them back for too long. Same things I've done with Samhain rituals where I've had trippy things happen in those.
I just want to interject here for those audience members who may not know just a little bit of Adela's powers. We all met Adela on a group reading forever ago.
Yeah,
and she
it was
just
an
like,
episode of the show.
It was an episode of the show. Maybe you should go back and check it out. But she was just like, bang, bang, bang. Each and every one of us just like blown away. All jaws dropped on the floor. 14 of us never met her. And she just went through line. I mean, I'm speeding this up, but you go back and listen. But it's incredible to think the things that can take place, especially in something like one of these seances. I'm very intrigued. We should all do one time. If
Yeah,
we,
I'd
if we
happy
get
to do a
chance.
seance for you.
I'll come to
Yeah.
the seance.
So, right?
Absolutely.
Like,
It sounds
be so
sounds
fun.
it sounds like it's a lot more tactile for the people.
It's for the
experiencing it.
people. I like it because I'm like, I'm not doing all the like, I'm going to communicate for Riley, hold the rest back. It's like you guys are going to come into this energy with me. And sometimes people get really shocked that they can. Sometimes people, like I've had people go like, I feel nothing. And I could tell they're very like, I do not want to feel anything. They say they're open, but they're
Like being
I can,
hypnotized, kind
right.
of. You
They're just
have
like,
to allow it.
right. There you go.
Wait, when you said trippy things happen, can you elaborate on what that means?
In a Samhain ritual.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you said when things are left open too long, you like
Yeah.
just kind of glossed over that. I
Oh.
was like, oh, what is that? What do you mean?
Well, I used to
Leave
do
the gate
seances.
open.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, never mind. Can I go just shut that? Good.
That
See you
would
later.
be very trippy. I used to do seances once a month for about 4.5 years, and I took a break because I would do 25 to 30 people seance groups. The ones I'm doing are a little smaller. I'm doing one that's 20. And people would just start to like feel dizzy. People would start to kind of feel cold, like extremely cold, and not the kind of cold you can, justify.
Put a jacket on.
Right, like in the air, and people will start to feel lightheaded, and then you could just watch all the bodies, everyone starts moving forward. And then when I did it with a witch who kind of was he was pretty serious witch, and he always wanted to push the boundaries really hard. I used to tell him like that this is getting a little too, like the room, it would be dark, and he would do it like full on old school.
He's like, now's my chance. Enter demon night of the night. Oh, wait, sorry. Yes, sir. I thought I had a moment there.
Well, he did have an English accent, so you're spot on.
Bryce, the one time the character actually had an English accent happened.
See, we can't hold back.
Finally
The
happened.
numbers game.
Okay.
Boom!
numbers game.
But the Samhain is different. Samhain is different. That was trippy stuff. So I guess you guys.
Well,
wanna know
what?
that.
Yeah. What's trippy stuff?
Go on.
Okay. Well, Samhain, the same group used to do. Now, you might have heard of Samhain. People don't know Samhain. It's a witch ritual where they believe that the dead will walk that night. They invite they open the gates, like rip them open, and all of the dead walk through. Some people do it very not like that at all. I've done ones that are very little tame, little coven, and this coven was not tame. And so they would literally have a seer in each corner, 4 corners, and the other seers would wear these cape hoods that you've seen, like witchy type stuff. But not me, because I was like, I don't need that. I'm fine. And people, and so, we would stand up on these things, and in each corner, it was very dramatic, and there would be like a lot of
Adela, no
people.
accoutrement. Are you sure? Now's the chance to don it, if you'd like.
No, thank you. I'm going in. And I would just go, and I would stand there, and you yell out whatever you hear, and the message is supposed to be for the people, and it would be like, and when these witches did a ritual, it was like full on old school, like they were like marching around this thing and turning this thing, and I was just like, the first time they invited me to do this or asked me to do this, I was like, never heard of this, never did it, and I was like, I guess I'm thrown into the heaviest, craziest ritual, and
Was
this
there-
is my first time.
When you say they're turning something, are they like stirring a cauldron? Is
Energy?
it that?
They do have like a cauldron in the middle, and they're walking around it, and they're like chanting this thing, and I was like, okay, and the room did
Like, this is
feel
some
like
witchy shit.
it was it's very
Damn.
and very
Damn.
Did you-
very.
Did anything manifest? Did you see anything?
I didn't see anything. I just would yell out. I could feel it though. And so one time though, I had a girl who used to study with me on mediumship. So she decided to do this ritual as a seer. And it was a really weird night. And she did it, and I was surprised because I knew that I'm pretty seasoned, and it was, yes.
What is the role of a seer in a ritual?
A seer is being what I call myself a seer, I'm the medium, and I'm going to see, and I'm going to yell out whatever
So there
I
can be
hear
multiple
or
seers.
see.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was 4 of us. That's the
Got it.
ritual
Got it.
in
Okay.
each corner. Yeah. And she was one of them across from me. And I was surprised because I knew she was new to this. And this is very intense. Like people are crying and dropping to the floor. And I could even feel like this feels like I'm being like attacked. And so, okay, so we end this part, right? Then they go do another ritual where they like do this whole thing of like sending these coins up. It's like a whole thing. So I'm standing there.
They're like,
and
we've
all
got to
of
do our
this-
Patreon. Just stick around. We have one more ritual. It's for the behind the paywall.
You gotta keep the lights on, eh?
Exactly.
The candles are flickering. You know.
I mean, it was very intense. So I went out, and I was kind of used to it. It was like, it's probably my 3rd time. And I was like, all right, I know this ritual. And it's like this doll. I know it's going to sound crazy, but they put coins in the doll, and then you burn it, and all the coins go up. It's pretty theatrical. So I'm standing there watching this, and I'm like, okay, here we go with the coin doll. And all of a sudden, I start feeling something like pulling on me. And I just quietly start making my way around and walking towards, and I walk and I see her, and she's shaking, and she can't talk, she can't move. And all the other witches were like, here, do this. And she looks at me, and she's like, Adele. And she didn't even say my name. She just held her arms up. So I
Dang.
took her and I wrapped my arms around her because I could tell she was
Yeesh.
stuck. She had been seeing and trying to get those energies through her, and she couldn't unstick herself. So I said, breathe in with me. I said, breathe in. I let it come through me. And I said, breathe out. And she like collapsed. And I was like, I said, I did it 3 times. And then I said, let go. And then she collapsed. And then they were giving her water, and she was like, thank you. It was the weirdest thing because I have to describe, this place is huge. So where I was very far from where she was. And I just found my way to her. Like she said, I kept thinking, help, 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 help,
Wow.
help.
Dang.
Wow.
That's
Wild.
scary
That
and
was
that's crazy.
Samhain.
When you
I'm sure
describe-
you want to sign up for Samhain. That's okay.
When you described multiple people laying on the floor and crying, I was like, that sounds like every theater class I took at Carnegie Mellon. Adela,
It could be.
we haven't played a certain game with you in a very, very long time. So it's
Uh-oh.
probably your first
Yay.
appearance on the show. I think it's high time we
Yes.
circled back, especially for Zombie Bigfoot's Crypt month. I'm going to go down a list of phenomena.
Okay.
Phenomena.
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 Something like
Phenomena.
a phenomena.
And rapid fire. And now you gotta decide right here and now. If you're open to
Okay.
it, you're gonna say believe it. If you're not
I've
open,
heard some of them on your show. Have you changed it? Because I listened
this
to.
will be new
Michael's
to you.
been known to
Okay.
switch them up every now and then.
This one's
Okay.
a Halloween themed
Sneaky
one.
one.
So-
Okay.
This
You'll-
might be a
gotcha.
trick and not so much a treat,
and if you're not open to it, you're gonna say bullshit.
Okay.
This is a game we like to call bullshit.
Wow.
Whoa.
Zombie
Get you a
Bigfoot
pop
edition.
filter.
It's zombies. It's zombie month. It's Cryptid Crypt.
Okay.
All
good.
right, Adela Lavine, on your
Yes.
mark. Get
Yes.
set. Ghosts.
Okay. Believe it.
Bigfoot.
Believe it.
Aliens.
Believe it.
Demonic possession.
Believe it.
Ouija boards.
Believe it.
Werewolves.
Bullshit.
Witches.
Believe it.
Vampires.
Bullshit.
Black cats are bad luck.
Bullshit.
Levitation.
Believe it.
Graveyards are haunted.
Believe it.
Fortune telling.
Yeah, believe it.
The mummy's curse.
I kind of believe that.
Zombies.
Bullshit.
You should kill a spider when you find one in your house.
Believe it?
Scientists have created genetic monstrosities.
Believe it?
Speaking to the dead.
Believe it?
Full moons create lunacy.
Believe it.
The owls are not what they seem.
I believe that.
Curses.
Believe it.
Tricks.
Tricks? Believe it?
Treats.
Believe that?
All right. You kill spiders in your house. That's not cool. This is how I,
mean,
judge.
I'm
I'll help you. I'll
sorry.
come save him and let him out the door. You got to do
I
the
mean,
cup
not
with the
Daddy
cardboard
Long-
underneath, just be like, oh, go out there.
Yeah. Can't
I mean,
kill
not
them.
daddy long legs. 'Cause they're. Most of the time, spiders don't bother me, but sometimes they gotta go.
Listen,
Sorry.
listen. A lot of people don't like
Take
spiders.
a little
It's
cup.
fine.
Put a little cup. Take a cup. Pick them up
No,
in a cup.
I'm not
Put 'em
doing
out.
that. Nope.
No, you're fine. You do what you do.
Bryce, you should have a side gig where you're like the spider guy who drives
fucking way.
around.
Dude, I yell
Wearing
at my
those
kids when they're like,
sunglasses.
Dad, spider. I'm like, I've showed you how to do it. Get it yourself. And they're like, I'm gonna smash
That's
it.
what you
Save
do.
all the
Drive around
spiders,
and
all
you
of
yell
them?
at people to get it themselves.
Yes.
You're a
yeah,
motivator.
Well, I gotta let them out. I call it my spider karma. I need good spider karma.
I think they do have a tendency to die outside, but at least I'm not squishing them.
Yes,
give them a
they-
chance.
they
I do
do
throw
have a
them kind of
tendency to die outside.
abruptly. I'm like, get out of there. But
I
I
lay the
imagine I'm
cup
like
down and let them
Spider-Man,
out.
like flinging a web and be like, oh, later, dude. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, well, I'm
Just
not doing that. Guys.
don't ask Bryce what happened. Just don't ask Bryce what happened to his pet geckos. We're gonna take a quick break.
Oh.
When we come back, we're gonna dip into some L files, which for this episode this month we're gonna call the Z files.
I set them free.
Stoner and weed.
To their deaths. Okay, here we go. It's time to hear from a few of our club scouts. We're calling them the Z files this month because it's Zombie Bigfoot's Cryptid Crypt.
I like it.
Riley, why don't you read? Oh, and for everybody, there's going to be a video that goes along with this letter. Now, I sent
this one.
I sent it to everybody today who's present with us now. For our listeners, this will be up on our YouTube channel, and you're going to just look up A Midnight Visitor on our YouTube channel so you can comment and discuss what you think is happening in this video. So go ahead, Riley.
All right. Hey there, BCC boys. Spelled correctly. Well done. I've been traveling a lot recently and had just gotten home from India. I had a bunch of gifts on my kitchen table waiting to be given or put away. It was Saturday night and I just got home from a night out. It was 11:30 p.m. and I went to bed. I heard my phone go off at midnight, but for some reason I didn't look at it. The next day, I noticed my indoor kitchen camera was set off. Check out the video.
Checking it out.
Notes. My cameras are only set off by movement. This camera is sitting on a windowsill facing into my kitchen. My kitchen is located in the back of my house away from the road. It looks like the thing is between the camera and the kitchen table and chairs. It moves, stops, and takes another direction. Curious on your thoughts.
Well, first thing I'd like to say is I appreciate this listener's champion attitude with the word win spelled out on their wall. You grab life by the reins and you make it yours, and
Lauren gets it.
You go get it. Okay, so we're looking at obviously kitchen table, a back door, front door, and as you watch this, you do see something pass in front of the lens.
I don't have my video up. Did you guys have a link, or do I just need to go to YouTube?
I sent it to you in an email, Bryce.
Oh,
so check your email.
All right.
Yeah. This is it's a video clip. So what do you think, Adela? When I first watched, I'll just say while Bryce is looking, my first gut instinct was whoa. And then when I watched it again, I went, I kind of have a theory that this might have a mundane explanation, but we have a medium here. Adela, what do you think?
Yes. I did watch it earlier, watched it again. I definitely feel that's not paranormal. I feel like I don't feel anything from it. That's kind of how I usually know. One, but two, it feels more like someone walking by the window or lighting. It feels more like a lighting shift more than it does.
It does.
Because I've had this happen several times to me, and I'm being a medium will always go, what was that? And then go, oh, this, the light changed, the car went by, something. So I just feel that it's more that.
Mm-hmm. It could be. I mean, it's sitting on a window, so there could be somebody passing. The camera's sitting on a windowsill facing into my kitchen. My kitchen is located in the back of my house away from the road. It's possible, though, that there was somebody walking through the backyard, which is just as creepy.
Feel like light shifting, too, happens. It doesn't feel like that and how spirits tend to operate. It's a little bit too, I don't know how to explain it, but the vibration's a little bit too like this world. The reason why a lot of spirits, you'll see them like vibrating and that you can't capture them, or even in movies, they look like they're, shaking a little bit, is because they can't hold the vibration too long here, because it's a little harder to slow down the energy. So I don't know. It just doesn't feel like that or look like a paranormal thing to me.
Boys, what do you think?
I actually kind of went the other way with this one. Usually I can pretty much tell like camera artifacting and things like that. This one is, I just keep scrubbing back and forth on it. It's just so strange the way that it moves. And I'm looking around in the room and I don't see any source or like other
But a curtain
interactions
could like
or
change, or
reflections.
anything can change, right? Like that's the thing.
I just don't see it. And like usually it's like someone will show us a video with an orb and there's like a light that's clearly like a lens flare. Or there's like stuff that's like very characteristic. I do have a similar security camera to this, and it'll pick up weird artifact stuff, but it's outdoors. A lot of times stuff like this too is like a bug.
I was going to say this. I think it's a bug, a tiny bug maybe flying in front of the lens, but it is
just so out of focus.
If you scrub it, it does look almost foggy and transparent, but it could be just a tiny little gnat or, floating through. What do you think, Bryce?
It could be that just in front of the lens.
Let's see. Downloaded the video, moved it over to the desktop.
Bryce hasn't watched
Still
it.
fine.
Went ahead. Let me go ahead and hit spacebar here. Okay, scrubbing. Nice. Oh, win. Very funny, Michael. Very funny. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Very good. Okay, yeah. That's I see both your points. Yes, it's very apparition-like, but then also it could be sort of something going on behind the camera that we don't see. I like it. I don't know. I love stuff like this. I'm going to say ghosty.
Okay. Everyone, it'll be up on the YouTube channel. If you're watching this right now, you've seen it. We'll put it in the edit of this episode. But go check out... Let's see, what did I say it's going to be called? A Midnight Visitor.
Yeah. You know me, I'd rather err on the side of ghosty,
I hear that.
We'll put a
Just
link.
to be safe.
It's
emotion.
I can take you to some spots where you can have like firsthand experience.
I have my limits. I like big hairy creatures. I like the woods.
Okay.
I'm not into some of the stuff. There's some weird shit I might not be into.
All right, Bryce, why don't you dip in and read the next Z file? It's kind of a long one, but it's tailor-made for Halloween.
Well, let's do it then, because that's why we're here. 30th Halloween anniversary of a radio ghost encounter. What? Dear BCC boys and illustrious guest. Oh, that's nice. I've been meaning to send in this L file for a while, but decided to wait until October 2024. I should preface this by saying that I'm a scientist and professor, so it's sort of my job to be a skeptic. Nevertheless, I love this already. I've always been intrigued by high strangeness, and your show has really helped me engage with that side of the story. One of the touchstones of my belief that science doesn't have all the answers happened to me 30 years ago this Halloween. The year was 1994. I was a senior in college at a small college near Philadelphia. This was in the days before internet streaming, so I listened to the radio to get most of my music. In early October, a local radio station started advertising that they would have a spiritual medium hold a seance on Halloween night. What? Talk about some synchronicities happening here.
It's almost as if there's someone producing this podcast.
Almost like
Stop it, Michael.
The story.
That's just too weird. This seemed like a fun and creepy way to celebrate Halloween, and I was excited to listen to it. When the night finally came, I sat in my room alone. I turned the lights down, lit some candles, and turned the radio on. The radio hosts interviewed the medium for a few minutes, then she got down to business. Spooky seance business. She reached out to the spirits and invited them to talk to her. As she did, she instructed the listeners to also open themselves up to the spirits. Adela, this is like exactly what you were talking about. She said that if we did, maybe we could also connect with them. We could hear their voices, see their faces, so they could live again through us. So I did that. I laid on the bed, closed my eyes, and relaxed, trying to connect with the spirits she contacted. The first few were interesting, although now I don't actually remember many details about them, but as she described her experiences, I started to see them more and more clearly in my mind's eye. I could visualize the spirit she was talking to and almost hear the voices myself. Then came the little girl. The medium described contacting a young girl who was sweet and kind and lived on a farm sometime in the 1800s. This imagery was so vivid in my mind. She was walking through tall fields of grass and wheat beneath blue skies with white puffy clouds, and in the distance I could see an idyllic farmhouse. I can't express quite how clear this all was in my mind, as though I were watching a movie right in front of me. Remember that expression, realer than real? I added that. What I couldn't see, however, was the girl's face. She was walking away from me in the field, always shyly turning away as I tried to approach her. I struggled to see her face, and then she turned to face me. And her face was hideous. Scarred and burned with melted flesh dripping off her cheeks. There was malice in her eyes, and she reached her skeletal hands out towards me. Everything about the scene changed in an instant. The sky was now gray and foreboding. The wheat around her was moldering in the field, and over her shoulder, I could see the farmhouse on fire and hear screams from it. It was terrifying, like a jump scare in a horror movie, but worse because it felt like this creature was looking right at me. All the while, the medium on the radio was talking about this lovely girl and her peaceful life, and then half a minute after this scene shifted in my mind, the medium started yelling, "Oh God, she's burned! She's evil! She did this to them! She killed them! She set them on fire!"
I love that
she was. God.
I'm sorry, I have to interject and say, I love that this medium suddenly became Ed Asner.
Oh,
God!
Good radio.
Mixed with a little Alex Jones in there, too.
Yeah.
It sounded like, I don't know where that came from. Good Lord, get out of the house! She's burning! What kind of sound is this? It sounded like she was on the verge of panic, and she quickly cut her connection to the spirit world and tried to regain her composure. Not kidding.
Not very professional.
I was shaken by this experience, you guys, and felt like I couldn't get warm. I stood up, opened the door to my room, letting in the light from the hall. And as I stepped into the hallway, I realized that the temperature in my room had dropped 20 degrees. I called my friend from an adjacent room, and he confirmed what I felt. There was a stark temperature difference right at my doorway, and crossing the threshold felt like stepping into a refrigerator. Over the years, this experience has really stuck with me. I've scoured the internet trying to find information about the seance, or maybe others who's listened to it that night. This was on the radio. Surely there must be some recording of it. What? It's the girl! Good God! She's a demon girl! Well, get out of here! But I've never found any.
Now you're like
Wow. I'll have
revival
to be
pastor.
and I worry it's been lost to
I'd
the
listen to that
mists
show.
of time. If any
Bryce
other
is just
Club
a
Scouts-
cornucopia of characters.
If there are any other Club Scouts who are in Philadelphia area at that time
Oh, man,
and
that'd
have
be
any
great.
recollection of this radio seance, I hope they'll reach out about it.
I love that.
Thanks for reading this, you guys, and I hope you have a spooky Halloween. Signing off, Alan. Thank you, Alan, for your incredible
Wow.
letter. And boy, do we have
Wow.
the perfect guest for you to respond to your query. Adela, what do you think of Alan's cut short radio seance from home?
I 100%. When he was describing her, I felt sad for her because she burned in that house. She didn't cause the fire, but a lot of mediums want to cut. It just makes good, radio or
Yeah,
TV to
right.
to make
Jump
her
to the quick
evil.
answer.
Right, but this is how seance work. When he says that he laid down his bed and he opened up, that's brave of him, because he's not like putting a protection around him. He's not putting, like, when I do my seances, I start with opening up with protection, meaning like I'm setting guardrails for everybody and that type of thing. But I definitely saw, as soon as he described her, I was like, I just heard she burned. That's what's happened, or
Wow.
there was a fire. So I 100% know that's what happened. That's how seance work.
Wow.
That the medium's trying to open up so that you can see it too.
What are a couple of those guardrails that he could have used, possibly?
So when you do a guardrail, you can create like a circle of protection. Like if you're going to do something like that, for anyone listening, I've done seances online, you you light some candles and put them around you. You burn some incense and whatever you believe in. I call in Anubis, Sekhmet, and Mikael and Azrael. Those are the 4 I call in to stand guard and to say this place isn't
Mikael.
going to just... Mikael, that's right.
Michael.
Michael.
is-
And the right.
and that's
The
like,
brass.
the Italian Saint Michael, apparently. Actually, that does fit.
It's an angel
for
named Michael.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Archangel.
So yeah, I'm doing something like that to make sure whatever you believe in, and you're saying this is like making sure I'm standing guard. But 100% that sounds very legit. What doesn't sound legit is what the medium did at that point. I do feel she did see the little girl and immediately went to evil, because that's what most people do when the girl just might have burned in the fire.
What's
Is
interesting?
what I saw.
What's interesting though is that Alan saw, it seems, the little girl
From home,
before
yeah.
it was
Listening on the
confirmed over
radio.
the radio.
That's how seances work. So when you're doing a seance, even if you're doing it in person, I try to get people to say, what do you see? And then other people say, yeah, I started to see that too. Or I thought it was just me. And then people are afraid to kind of speak up. Or, I'll confirm what the person's seeing as well and give a little more detail. And then sometimes it's connected to the people in the seance.
I
And
love
sometimes
this
it isn't.
idea of him like sort of laying out on his cool chair,
I know.
lighting a doob, like putting on the nice cans, the stereo hi-fis, like, all right, let's do this, man. We're gonna talk to the dead, and then
Yeah.
what the whoa, whoa.
And then she starts yelling.
Yeah, like
She's evil.
yeah.
I like to picture him in. I like to picture him in a lab coat with like his clipboard and his, his glasses.
It can, I will say to you guys, it can happen. I had a seance where the person I was seeing had their head cut off, and I didn't want to say it. And the person sitting there said, I know what you're saying. That's my brother. This is what happened to him. So
Dang.
as a medium, it can be overwhelming to see those things.
Right.
And so it could see that if you're trying to put on a show or you're not being experienced, she probably could get freaked out and she could not how to handle it. And I didn't handle it that way. Obviously I said, okay, this is what I see.
Yeah.
I'm not going to start screaming and
Right.
No, I mean, we jest, but this is serious business that you do.
Yeah.
This
'Cause
is
it's
not
like
something
real
to
people,
fuck around
right.
with contacting the afterlife. You have to approach it with sincerity and solemnity.
Yeah.
This is like, and
poor little girl.
yeah. So, but
Yeah, that's sad.
I have two takeaways from this. One, the internet. If you can find this recording, we ask of
amazing.
you.
Yeah, we got to get it.
Do your thing, the internet.
Yeah.
Someone find that.
Internet, I command you.
I ask of you humbly. as
Technical.
of course.
Steward
Yes.
of our tiny corner. Help us, dear internet. The other takeaway from this is, so this is like a telepresence seance, right? This is kind of like a showing that works, right?
Yes.
So has anyone ever done like a global seance, like a Zoom, like
I have.
somebody on every continent kind of
Not in
vibe?
every continent, but
But-
I've had people in different parts of the country and different parts of our country and different parts of the world join my seance.
Cool.
Oh,
That's
cool.
dope.
Maybe
Yeah.
we should
And-
try it sometime.
Yeah, I'm like-
Yeah.
Imagine
And-
the power of like an 8 billion wide seance. Do you think you could
That's
just
what I'm
blow
saying.
wide open
Internet-
the portal? Like,
Let's again.
That's a lot
the
to
internet.
control,
Let's-
but
let's-
okay.
let's
well, you call in the Ghostbusters after, obviously.
crack open.
Lot of
But then you get a great
responsibility.
movie out of it.
A lot of responsibility on Adela's shoulders. Adela
Yeah.
Lavine, I can't believe it.
Yes.
We're already out of time. Thank you so much for joining us once again.
Yeah,
Where can people book a session with you? Where can people come to a seance?
Hear
How
your
do they find out what
podcast.
your podcast? How can they find your stuff?
Yes, you can find all of my things on AdelaLavine.com. I'm Adela Lavine on all the things, Instagram, TikTok. My YouTube is mostly my podcast. You can listen to my podcast and you can also write into my podcast, The House Medium, since I hear from all of you all the time that you're big fans of the Bigfoot Collectors Club. I hear it like pretty much at least twice a week that I
Oh,
have
that's so
people
awesome.
like book
Good job,
readings
guys.
or come on. Yeah. And so if you're in the Utah area, when is this airing though? Do
This
you
will
know when
be
this is
out.
airing?
This is on the 24th, I believe, of October. So
Okay.
let me double check. Just make
Perfect
sure I got the
timing.
right 23rd.
Season.
23rd.
yeah.
If you can, if there's anything left, because I'll be in Utah the 25th, the 26th, the 27th, and the seance is on the 26th.
Awesome.
Come on
Cool.
out.
Hey,
and
just in
come
time.
Check it
Get
out
a
if you're
reading,
interested. Yeah.
one-on-one reading in person, or come to the seance. Oh, but otherwise, you can find all the thing at AdelaLavine.com or the House Medium, wherever you get your
Well,
podcasts.
Serious inquiries only.
we hear from our listeners what big
Please.
fans they are of you, Adela. In fact,
That's right.
A friend of the
Right.
show just told me not too long ago that whenever he and his wife are on a road trip, she always wants to listen to your episodes on the road. That your episodes are always her
Oh.
favorite. So shout out Olivia.
Yeah.
Hope you
Thank
liked this
you.
episode. Awesome, Adela. Everybody, AdelaLavine.com.
Once again,
Go talk to the
Thank
dead.
you so much. Thanks,
We
you
love
guys.
you.
Thanks for bringing me
thanks
on
for
to
being here.
Halloween.
all right. Thanks for sharing your incredible gift with us and our listeners.
It's time to wind down this episode, but don't go anywhere too fast because we have Collector's
Great
Corner
episode.
right around the corner. But before we head over there, let's thank some Club Scouts who have recently joined us on BCC The Other
You
Side.
did it.
It's
You
time
came on over.
for our Patreon shout-outs. Now, I'm going to come back and say to Alyssa Damaso, who I mispronounced her last name last week. Thank you, Alyssa Damaso. We also have River Cosmeteer,
Oh, thank you, River. Welcome.
Chelsea Watkins,
You did the right thing, Chelsea.
and Hotcakes, who pays in a form of currency that's not American. So I'm not sure if you're a Cosmeteer or just a official Club Scout, but why not just say Cosmeteer?
Hotcakes, we love you. Welcome.
Join us over at patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub and unlock total access to BCC with 3 bonus episodes every month, access to the entire exclusive episode archives instantly, the BCC Discord. You can upgrade to the Cosmeteer membership, originally founded by our ultra-terrestrial producer, Riley, where you can unlock 3 bonus exclusive music tracks from him every month. Get all of his music that he's composed so far and released over there, and ad-free episodes like the one you're listening to right now. And guess what? Cosmeteer video is coming exclusively to Cosmeteer. So get ready, everybody. Guys, come join us. We're having fun. Okay, speaking of watching stuff, follow us on YouTube, please. Our YouTube channel is growing. We're throwing up cool stuff that you can't find anywhere else except for the YouTube channel. Swing by Michael's eBay shop, which still doesn't have an official name. It's going to happen. I wanted to let everybody know that I have... if you never picked up a copy of Adventure Van, my graphic novel,
oh my gosh,
you can get it. I put it on the eBay shop, so it's really easy to find, and I will sign it for you.
Classic.
It is.
So go over there and check it out. There's portals to other worlds.
I was about to do a Bryce Johnson run to the bookshelf and show mine off, which is signed by the author, by the way.
Yeah, I'll sign it for you.
I have one too.
Bryce, what do you got?
Oh, man, I got a couple things out right now. It's just that time of year. Terrifier 3 is in the theaters. Have you guys seen it? What do you think? Oh, my gosh. Comment on my socials. You know where to find me. Expedition Bigfoot's probably streaming in your neck of the woods. If you've seen it, see it again. Tell your friends. Watch it. Live it. Love it.
Get caught up. We're going to be doing a season 5 recap next month, so get ready.
Wait.
And I think I plugged it on a previous episode. I'd finished editing it, but it hadn't come out yet. But now it has come out. The Pom Poms music video for I Think You're Right, which is one of the singles off the new record. And it's a really fun and ridiculous video. There are alien short order cooks. There's an alien with a silver hot dog.
Yeah, phallic.
You're selling me quick, buddy.
There's a talk show hosted by Swamp Man. I mean,
what? I'm going to
it's a
YouTube
real
right
hoot.
now.
I love
Where do
it.
find this thing?
Well, it'll be out when this episode is out.
Oh, gosh.
I'll send it to you
Damn.
guys. I'll send it to
Okay,
you.
great.
It's really fun, Riley, how your music has influenced our show, but now I like that how our show is influencing your music and the stuff you make in that realm.
Well, this one I will say this is the realm of Jessie Payo, who is the leader of Pom Poms, and this is like I think just what it looks like inside her head all the time.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah, she's something else. Yeah, and a friend of mine directed it. I edited it. It was very fun. It's a great little video. I love it. So it's out now. Check it out. Pom Poms. I think you're right.
Kick-ass. Okay, if we don't see you over on the other side, which we're crossing over to right now to talk about this month's horror movie, Frogman, recommended to us by Jessica Napick. Then we'll see you. That'll be out on Friday. If we don't see you there, we'll see you back here for the conclusion next week, next Wednesday, the day before Halloween, for the the penultimate conclusion, because guess what?
What?
Ultimate. Wow.
Monster Showdown is just around the corner over on the other side as well. So let me tell you, we got 2 big episodes coming for you.
Well, we got a lot of Wednesdays, so let's get them in.
So the official conclusion will happen over here next Wednesday, Zombie Bigfoot's Crypt, and then the Piece de Resistance every Halloween, Monster Showdown, next installment is coming to you next week. Can't wait. Big month, big week. We love you guys.
All right here.
Until then, good night.
And go get regret.
I'm gonna get vocal cues.
Bigfoot Collectors Club is executive produced by Michael McMillan, Riley Bray, and Bryce Johnson. Our show is engineered, produced, and scored by Riley Bray. Our theme song, Come Alone, is by Suneaters. Follow them on Spotify. Want more BCC? For exclusive full-length episodes every month and total access to the other side, check out patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub.